Tim Petrowich of Dateline Marion here with Marion head football coach Kerry Martin, and it's the new season for high school football, week 10, the playoffs. And first of all, coach, a little bit about the Wildcats. Finished the regular season at 7-2. Go back to the beginning of the year and look at your schedule and look at who your personnel were, and tell me what kind of a grade you give yourself with a 7-2 record.
Well, there's always expectations to be better. We look at our schedule and like to win 9. Coaches are greedy like that. We knew we had a real competitive conference schedule, and our non-conference games, I think we anticipated Granite City being better than they ended up being, and Mattoon's a good playoff team, and Harrisburg's had a good year. And Normandy was kind of an unknown going in as far as non-conference. Our hope was to number one, to be a playoff team. Number two, we'd love to have won the conference. And, ultimately, I felt like we competed in every game we played in. Had a little turnover bug against Cahokia, and didn't tackle well against Centralia. And just those things happen. I guess overall we're I hate to use the word satisfied, but we're glad to be in the postseason. 7 wins out of 9 is a good year, but of course there's always a little disappointment. I think we could have played better at times.
The last 2 games, you picked up on something that you kind of did for a little while last year, and that is falling behind and then rallying to win the ball game. And this past week was no exception. You were down 27-7 to what looked like a pretty talented Normandy team, and you were able to come back and wind up winning by 2 touchdowns. And I think that's maybe a good way to gauge how your team's going to respond. If you get behind in this playoff game, they're not just going to roll over.
Well, yeah, I don't anticipate that. I mean, they've been a feisty bunch all season long. I mean, we battled in every game, and we teeter-tottered back and forth, I think, with Centralia a little bit, and kept battling. It's never been a lack of effort. I really believe that our kids have played hard all season long. I think we've been a little inconsistent in our execution at times, but we played hard. I watched a lot of film this weekend of ourselves as much as I have Chatham, and trying to scout ourselves a little bit. And over and over I see a football team that's playing hard, and pretty consistent at times on offense. My side of the ball where I mainly coach, and I've been pretty happy with our offensive performance. I think you always want more, but I feel like I was first thing you look for. Coach Kill used to say, if they play hard, you got a chance. And our kids have played hard even when they've fallen behind. You're right, they have battled back, and there's no quit.
What do you say to your team when there's 11 minutes left in the first half, you're down 27-7? Whatever you talked about, obviously it worked.
Well, we felt like one score put us back in the game. If we could get within 2 scores, we felt like we could be back in the ball game. 27-7 was pretty daunting, but we knew that 35-7 was going to be a nail in the coffin. So we had to worry about 1 score at a time. We got that score. We got a stop, got the punt snap over the punter's head, got a short field, scored again before half. We're back in the game now. We got the opening kickoff the 3rd quarter. What I think gave us hope all along was the fact that we moved the ball even in early possessions. We were driving the football. So we felt like, the mistakes of not getting in the end zone were kind of self-inflicted. And if we cleaned those things up, we thought we had a good chance. And overall, we just told the kids, no panic, don't flinch. We talk about this in practice. We talk about it in our pregame preparation. You can fall behind, but in our offense, there's ways to come back. And, we try to preach that to them. And so I think if you prepare them mentally before it happens, when it happens, I think they're ready to take it on.
Normandy's quarterback, Terry White, 3 long touchdown runs, 4 touchdowns in the first half. Were you having flashbacks from the 2 weeks earlier with Centralia and Rashad Campbell?
Yeah, similar uniforms. Number 1, Campbell's number 10. There were some similarities, I think, in their running style. He's not quite as big as Rashad, but yeah, there were some flashbacks. And our hope was that we could make some adjustments, and our defensive coaches did a nice job of making some adjustments and closing some holes and changing our alignment a little bit, and did a great job of slowing them down in the second half and giving us a chance to keep scoring points.
3 school records for Henry Jones in the game, single game records, 46 carries, 359 yards, 6 touchdowns. We talked after the game, you were a little upset that he touched the ball so many times. But when you look at the game, didn't realize this till we did the math. 86 offensive plays total for your team, and several times you're running the change of pace offense in the second half. Several times Jared Doris touched the ball, so you did mix it up. You threw a few passes when you needed to.
Did.
So he got the ball a lot, but you ran a lot of plays.
We consciously were trying to get him breaks. I mean, we put Mitchell Barlow in the game a few times at fullback, and made an effort to try to get the ball to some other people after several runs. And I mean, I thought he had the ball 35 times. I didn't know he carried it 46. Not that would have changed the game plan at all, but Henry plays in such a way as he just is, just a hard runner. He never wants out, never wants a break. Tough runner, and I think he handled it so well. And I talked to him Monday at school and asked him how he felt. And he said, "I feel great. No residual effects." He said he still felt good, wasn't that sore. And the real credit goes to the offensive line, the receivers, the running backs that blocked for him. It's a tremendous individual effort, but it doesn't go without the people up front, the tight end spots, the O-line doing their thing up front, and the backs blocking for him.
They had enough quickness that you were able to get some holes and get him some yards, but he didn't have that breakaway run. The longest run was a 23-yard touchdown run. So it was hard yards, but it was hard yards for everybody. And you talk about the blocking. There were some big holes, and then once he got through them, they did close up pretty quick.
They reminded me of Cahokia in that way, that there is yardage to get, but you're not going to get those long runs. You're not going to get the breakaways against them because they've got great team speed, and they're very athletic. And even when they get blocked, they don't stay blocked. And like you said, there were holes. They closed quickly. And I think when you look at the upper classifications and the playoffs and so forth, that's what you notice. Holes open like they do at any level of football, but they close fast. And there's a lot of closing speed out there on the defensive side of the ball, and I noticed it with Normandy.
We've talked about the last few weeks, we've talked a lot about Jared Doris, and he put together a nice game again on Saturday, 67 yards rushing, and really some nice runs out of that change of pace as well.
He did. I thought he was going to break a couple also. Some shoestring tackles kept him from breaking some runs. Did a great job protecting the ball. Did a great job of blocking on the perimeters, our wing back, and real proud of his effort.
And I think, too, you look at Jared, and he's not very big, but there were a couple times in that game and other games where he's had 2 or 3 guys on him, and he just forges forward and pushes ahead and carries guys with him.
Good hard runner. He has great body lean, hits the hole hard, and willing to stick his nose in there where the big guys lurk and get a few tough yards. And several times in the film, he only got 2 and 3 yard gains, but no loss of yardage. Not trying to do too much and bounce it and lose 5 or 6 yards. Keeping drives going by just sticking his nose in there and getting his tough yards when he needed it.
Another new name to mention, pretty good kicking performance by Mitch Wilkie.
Yeah, he did a nice job. He did, and he's just a freshman, and he's getting better every day, and he works hard at it. And I thought he had a good day.
You have to get sandpaper or a fingernail file or something to get that kind of a spin on your kickoffs, because those kickoffs were really knuckleball type kicks.
They were, and I think it helped us in our coverage. Putting the ball in those situations, balls bouncing around a lot of different directions, and getting our coverage people down there and preventing a long run back.
Well, it's time to get to the nitty gritty now. We've got to talk about Chatham-Glenwood, and it's they come out of the Central State 8 Conference, a conference with a great reputation that produces state champions year in and year out. Chatham finished 3rd in that conference, a 6-point loss to Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin, a 5-point loss to Rochester. Rochester's a 2-time defending state champion in Class 4A. It's not going to be an easy task.
No, it's a tough draw. I mean, they're a very good football team with a great tradition. They've played in the title game. They've got the #1 offense in that conference. They've scored more points this season. I take that back. I think they're 2nd to Rochester, but barely. They have put up a lot of points. They have a very strong passing game with a quarterback who's thrown 18 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. They have a solid running game with almost a 1,000-yard rusher, 800 and some yards, I believe. And we're real impressed. Have a lot of respect for what they do, what they've done over the years, and it's typical 5A football. It's a tough matchup.
And their numbers-wise, they're very similar to Marion as far as yardage. They throw a little bit more. I think they maybe run a little bit more than they've thrown, but they can throw and they can run. But I think the style's a little bit different. I think they're more of a power type team, if I'm not right.
They are, yeah. I think you're right. More of a power team with play action pass off of it, and when you try to load the box and stop the run, they're going to pull that up. They've got a 6'6" receiver and some other good athletic receivers, and they are, as I said, they're impressive to watch on film. you can put the film in and very quickly notice they're well coached, very disciplined, very technique sound, just a good football team.
This is a team that 2 years ago, and players change, so it's not a lot of the same personnel. 2 years ago, Springfield came here, beat Marion in a very close game, very high scoring game. Everyone thought Springfield had a lock on getting at least 2 more rounds into the playoffs and getting a possibility, a shot at Joliet Catholic or Sacred Heart Griffin or one of them. They went to Chatham, and Chatham blew them out in the next round. So I think Chatham got into the playoffs with a 6-3 record that year. So that's just a competitive conference. At the same time, your team has competed well with a team out of that conference.
Well, I just feel like, you look at them on paper and the tradition, the conference, and the schedule they play, and they've become not only a team that is in that conference finishing second or third once in a while, or consistently finishing the second or third, they are playing those top teams, Sacred Heart and Rochester, tooth and nail every single year. I mean, when they lose, they're losing by 5 points, 6 points, 3 points. I mean, they're in those ball games with chances to win. I mean, they are competing at a very high level. You're right, in a conference that is producing state championship teams. And Rochester and Sacred Heart have done that. So, that's the kind of respect we have for them. We know that this is the level we need to be at as a program. If we're going to play in 5A football, Chatham-Glenwood and Sacred Heart and Rochester are a benchmark for where we need to be as a program. And there's no better way to find out than to go play this ball game. I mean, we play in a good conference. I think their conference traditionally has been better, and we need to find a way to elevate. And the greatest way to elevate your program is to play good competition. And this is a great chance for us to go out and see where we stack up.
You wouldn't be in the position you're at if you didn't have some thoughts or ideas on some things that you can probably do against this team.
Well, absolutely. I mean, there's not a game you look at you don't think you can do something. And we feel like we've got a good offensive game plan. We feel like we've got some things that are we think we can do to them that can produce some yardage and get some points on the board. Defensively, we're going to have a whale of a performance. But we've had some nights. We've had some very good games, especially the Althoff game. Our defense really came through strong. I really believe that our kids will come to play. I think we've got a great week of preparation ahead of us. We're excited about the opportunity. We're kind of in an underdog situation, which we're not in a lot of around here, and going up to a tough place to play, we're sure, but looking forward to an opportunity to play a quality football program and give it our best shot. I know people have already kind of penciled Chatham into the next round, but we're going to do our best to have a say-so in this.
And I'll ask this, and there may not be one, but is there a team that you've seen this year on your schedule that most compares to Chatham?
Well, when I look at them, when I look at their playing style and the way they do things,
Sure.
They remind me of an Althoff. When I say that, I'm talking technique, very sound, very disciplined, very heady bunch of kids that do the right things. They don't chase things they shouldn't chase. They don't make mistakes. I mean, they're the kind of team that is going to really force you into some mistakes by you maybe trying to overplay some things. But that's who they remind me of. And having played at Althoff for the last 11 years, when I look at Chatham on film, that's who they remind me of, just personnel-wise, the way they look on film, the way they play, and I mean that with the utmost respect. That's kind of a similar team, I think, in our conference.
Well, it's Chatham-Glenwood on the road up in Chatham this Saturday, 2 o'clock game time, with Marion Wildcat head football coach Kerry Martin. I'm Tim Petrowich.